Hello, I'm a Greek geek because I'm 50% Greek and 100% a geek. Now, am I the only one that thinks that this movie doesn't actually feel like a Terminator movie? Like, even when I was watching this movie, my girlfriend walked in and asked if I was watching a Transformers movie. And when I told her no, she's like, oh, is it Battle Los Angeles? So this movie doesn't really have the feel of a regular Terminator movie. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, let's find out.
We've been fighting a long time. We are outnumbered by machines. Humans have a strength that cannot be measured.
15 years after Judgment Day, John Connor and the Resistance are trying to fight back and defeat Skynet for good. Meanwhile, a guy named Marcus Wright is woken up and is trying to find his place in the world, and he meets up with Kyle Reese and they go on an adventure together. Eventually Kyle Reese gets captured and John Connor has to try and save Kyle Reese and himself. So this movie deviates from the regular plot of previous Terminator movies, Terminator or soldier sent back in time to kill or save somebody, so it's different in that regard. Christian Bale is a better fit for John Connor than Nick Stahl was in the previous movie. He definitely has that kind of leadership and commanding presence kind of vibe. So he's got that going for him. He's a better fit. Christian Bale is a good actor. He does well enough in this movie, even though what's happened on set behind the scenes, we've all heard that clip before.
In the middle of a scene? Then why the fuck are you walking right through? Da-da-da-da, like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
And I like how in this movie, he doesn't immediately start off as the leader of the Resistance by the time of 2018. He has to work his way up and is taking orders and is doing what he thinks is right, even if he thinks that's going against orders. So that happens as well. So eventually he does take command of the Resistance, but in this movie he doesn't. So I think they were working on doing some more movies directly taking place after this movie where he becomes a leader, but we didn't get that. Sam Worthington is Marcus Wright, and his character is a cyborg. He's half human, half Terminator, essentially. So why wasn't Skynet doing that before? Why are they wasting time with Terminators with plastic skin or ones that aren't even very convincing? And when you can have someone who legitimately thinks they're human. Marcus Wright he's kind of an asshole to start off with. He does kind of mellow out as time goes on towards the end of the movie, but I didn't really find his character that particularly interesting. Anton Yelchin is a younger Kyle Reese, a teenager who wants to join up with the Resistance, but he can't for some reason, even though I don't think the Resistance would be turning away anybody who wants to join, because I really think they need the numbers and the manpower. But anyway, he wants to join the Resistance, but can't until he proves himself or whatever. But he meets up with Marcus Wright and they go on a little road trip together and he eventually gets captured. John Connor and Kyle Reese they spend very little time together in the movie, except I think they meet towards the end. I can't remember. But I think it was a missed opportunity not having them together most of the movie, because that could have been a very interesting dynamic. John Connor is older, but Kyle Reese is younger, but he is his father. And in exploring that dynamic, that could have been really interesting. I would have liked to have really seen that, but they don't do anything with it, so you're just like, well, all right. Moon Bloodgood. Damn, that's a cool name. She plays Blair Williams, and she is the kind of love interest for Marcus Wright, and she is supposed to be like the badass female character taking place of Sarah Connor. She doesn't meet that mark. She really needed some more screen time and a bit more stuff to do to make her more relevant and more interesting. And I forgot that Bryce Howard is in this movie. She is John Connor's wife. Can't remember her name. She doesn't really do that much in this movie.
Where are you? I don't know.
So it's going for the post-apocalyptic look in the movie, and it doesn't really fit with the future scenes that we see in previous movies. It's all in Terminator 1, 2, and 3, we see that it's all at night. Everyone has laser weapons and there's lots of Terminators around everywhere. Now, in watching Terminator 3, reviewing it and looking for clips for it, looking at the trailer for Terminator 3, John Connor talks about how that the future is a place of eternal darkness. And we don't see this in this movie.
Imagine a world of permanent darkness, where machines control man's destiny.
I think there was something that happened that blot out the sun due to the nuclear warheads that were used or something like that. This movie is majority in the daytime, and it doesn't really have that feel to it. And the weapons that everyone are using are just like regular conventional weapons that we use today, bullets, that kind of thing. And it doesn't have the same feel. But then again, this does take place in 2018. The future scenes, I believe, in previous movies take place in 2030. So they might be getting to that technology, but they're just not quite there yet. And also, you don't really see that many Terminators in a Terminator movie. We see a couple of T-600s, but most of the time we see their bigger robots. They're hunter-killers, they're big machine Terminator thing that captures people. That's why it looked like a bloody Transformers movie with that thing running around. And Terminator motorbikes. God.
If you're listening to this, you are the Resistance. I thought I knew our enemy. Something has changed.
This movie focuses more on the war aspect of what's been happening with the war against Skynet, as opposed to just sending people back in time and Terminators. And it's interesting. The action is okay. I remember one particular scene where John Connor is trying to get in a helicopter and chase after a Skynet vehicle, and it's all one shot, and an explosion causes his helicopter to crash and all that. That was interesting. Action scenes are okay, I guess. It's nothing really new or anything really mind-blowing. And would have liked to have seen some more Terminators fighting as well. You see a couple, as I said before, a couple of T-600s, but it's mostly their bigger vehicles that we see. And it didn't really feel like a Terminator movie until Marcus Wright and John Connor are trying to take down the new T-800 model, which is a bad CGI version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, how technology has advanced, eh? Yeah, it didn't feel like a Terminator movie until those final scenes where they're trying to take out a T-800. So, there's that.
I'm the only hope you have.
So, would I recommend seeing this movie? It does deviate in the sense that it doesn't have the regular Terminator kind of plot, but it doesn't really have that much going for it. The characters' performances are all okay. Special effects and all that, everything's just okay. And it's not terrible, but it's not great. So it's up to you whether you watch this movie. So anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble on about a movie for a few minutes. I do appreciate it. Thank you again. I'll catch you next time.